Well, I'll be damned.
Would you be willing to trace all of this?
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So today we are going to be talking about the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. So first off for you guys, if you haven't seen the episode, this is going to be your warning. There is going to be definitely some spoilers in here. So again, if you haven't seen the episode, I highly suggest you either go and watch it and then come back and watch my, my review, my reaction. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then here we go. So I know a lot of you guys have probably, where it's, it's Sunday. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen a bunch of reviews and stuff like that for the episode, but this was just one of those things that, even though a bunch of people have already done videos and stuff for it, I just wanted to get my thoughts out there because I loved the finale, as you guys can probably tell. I hadn't been this excited for like a season finale for TV, I feel like, in quite some time. At least not like anything where it's like an episode like each week. Obviously we have the TV shows where it's like Netflix, where it's like we get it all at once. So I feel like that doesn't really count. I'm used to kind of the style of where it's each week, and that's what we get with The Mandalorian. So haven't been this excited for a while, and I just, I had ideas of I had seen theories and stuff of what was going to happen, but, I just wasn't really sure where they were going to take it. And I think, that's always a lot of fun when a TV show can do that and keeps you on the edge of your seat and, just really anticipating that season finale to see if they're going to leave you with a cliffhanger or whatever. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the episode. So right at the beginning of the episode, we get Boba Fett and we get Mando, and they go and meet up with Bo-Katan and her assistant. And, right from the beginning, it was cool that I thought that we saw Bo-Katan be brought back into the action of things. And, they get there and Mando's like, hey, I want you to come along with us. We're going after Moff Gideon. And, she's like, oh, no, not all of us are bounty hunters or, something like that. And then he mentions he has Grogu, and so that's why we're going after Moff Gideon, and that kind of piques her interest. They kind of have a little bit of a scuffle between Boba Fett and then her and her assistant. So that was kind of cool. But I was just glad that they really brought that character back from earlier in the season, because I was like, oh wait, are we just gonna kind of leave that off to either next season or whatever. So it was cool that they brought them back at the end of the show. So after this, Mando's team, group of people, they end up hijacking an Imperial ship, and then they have Boba Fett chasing after him. So it looks like they're going after this Imperial ship, and that's how they're gonna board Moff Gideon's ship. And eventually, they get on there after running into a few little issues, but eventually they end up boarding the plane and then trying to go after Moff Gideon and find out where he has Grogu in the ship. Once they actually get inside, they come up with a plan where most of them are going to be going after trying to find where they think Moff Gideon's going to be in the ship. And then Mando, there's a spot where Grogu is located, so he's going to go after him himself. So they split up, and Mando ends up running into the Dark Troopers. So this was pretty cool. I liked the introduction of the Dark Troopers, a few episodes ago. So I was hoping we were going to see some more action with them, and we do. At first, it's just, he just ends up fighting the one Dark Trooper because he locks the other ones in the room, and they go head to head. And I was actually a little nervous for Mando, even though, so the Dark Trooper, he he started punching him, and it wasn't doing any damage, from what you could really see to his helmet because of the Beskar and stuff. But he was taking some big hits, and you could just imagine this guy being inside this helmet, and just you could hear him, it was he's definitely getting his ass kicked right now. So I was like, damn. He ends up beating him by taking the Beskar spear and putting it through him, and then he flushes out the rest of the Dark Troopers into space. And at that moment, I was a little let down, because I was like, wait, is that we're just gonna have the one fight and then the rest of them are just gonna be gone and that's it? So I thought that was a little anticlimactic at the moment, because eventually later on we see him again, but I was just okay. So after Mando, he ends up finding the room where Grogu is located, and sure enough, Moff Gideon is in there, and he has the dark saber, and he's holding it over Grogu, and he's I'm not going to give him to you. And Mando, he's just I just want the kid. You can keep the dark saber, da 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 da. And, he does the classic, like, bad guy thing, Moff Gideon, where he's like, oh, yeah, I can see you have, like, a relationship with him, and I already got what I wanted, so you can go ahead and take him. And I was like, he's definitely going to go after him. So, sure enough, he does, and then we finally end up getting the Moff Gideon and Mando fight that we were hoping for, really since, even, like, last, like, season. And I thought it was awesome. It was done very well. He has the Darksaber, and then Mando ends up pulling out his spear, and they start going at it. And even though, from what, like, we've seen, like, Beskar, lightsaber can't, like, break it, like, when he was, like, holding it, you can see it, like, almost, starting to, like, melt. So you're like, I don't know, like, could this thing, like, actually break? And again, guys, I'm not, like, the biggest, like, Star Wars fan. I've become more of a fan as I've gotten older. So I'm still learning some of this stuff. So if I make a mistake, please don't kill me. So yeah, eventually Mando, he ends up, beating Moff Gideon, and, he spares his life because, he had mentioned he would, he'd bring him back to Bo-Katan, like, later because she wanted him alive. So he ends up bringing him to the room where all the other, other guys are. And Moff Gideon, he's laughing, and we see Bo-Katan, and she looks kind of pissed. And we find out the reason why is because now the Darksaber belongs to Mando, because he beat Moff Gideon in combat. And the only way for Bo-Katan to get it would be beating the Mandalorian in combat. And, at first, like, Mando's just like, hey, like, here, I don't really want it, I don't really care. And, I guess he can't do that. Like, he can't just hand it over or, like, forfeit it. So it has to be a fight, which I'm curious to see where they're really going to go with this, just because, as we saw in the episode, it's not like she has to kill, Mando in order to get it. So, like, I'm curious just to see what they do with that, because it's like, yeah, they could just be like, all right, let's fight, da-da-da-da-da, that's it, here you go, you get the, you get the saber, you get the lightsaber or whatever. So I definitely want to see how that plays out, next season. It's then at this point in the episode, we're kind of getting towards the end of it, and I'm just like what's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen in this, these last part of, like, the episode? And, at this point, we see the Dark Troopers are coming back. So they have, like, their rockets or whatever, so they were able to fly back to the ship, and I was like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense, because like I said, I was a little disappointed when they all just kind of got thrown out of the ship at first, but they end up coming back, and they're closing in, on, like, our group of characters, and I was just like, oh, damn, shit's about to go down right now, because we saw what happened with just the one fight with Mando versus the other Dark Trooper, and it beat him pretty bad. So, like, now we have, like, a whole, like, fleet of these guys, and they're going to be taking on, like, our core characters, so I was just like, damn. And that's when it happened. All of a sudden, we end up seeing an X-Wing, come into, like, the frame. And, it ends up, like, landing. And I was just like, no, like, there's no way. I was definitely, in like, watching the episode, I was in, like, denial for, at least several, like, minutes or whatever. Because, an X-Wing pulled up. The guy, the hooded figure got out, started walking down, started taking some of the dark troopers out. And I was just like, no, like, it has to be, like, someone else. They must be, like, just trying to pull on our, like, the heartstrings or whatever. And I was just like, no way. And, then, like, even when, like, he like, pulls the green lightsaber, and I'm like, wait a second. I saw, like, the glove as well. And I was just like, there's no way they're going to be doing this. So I was just in, like, super denial. And, finally, we get to see him, tear through all the Darksabers, which was awesome. Very similar. A lot of people have been making the comparison to Rogue One with Darth Vader. And I totally see that comparison. Each scene was equally as badass, in my opinion. And especially just when he got to that last figure, and he just ends up, like, crumbling him, with the Force. That was super cool. And then, sure enough, he ends up coming into the room, and it's Luke Skywalker. I was just like, I was still, like, watching, and, it was Luke Skywalker from, they de-aged his face with, like, the CGI, which we'll talk about that, like, in a second. But I was just like, holy fucking shit, like, there's no way this is Luke Skywalker right now. So I was shocked. I wasn't expecting that at all, because I had seen a lot of people, discussing different theories about, oh, it might be, like, Ezra, it might be, this person that's going to, like, show up. I never expected them to bring Luke into the show. thinking back like on it like now or whatever, and I've seen some other people say it, like it does make sense. But I guess I just was like, there's no way they're going to do that, on The Mandalorian. But yeah, as far as, the CGI goes, I've seen, a lot of people, they're like, oh, or a good amount of people, I should say. Some people are like, oh, it looked kind of weird and his voice was like a little off. When I first watched it, I was so caught up in like the emotion of like, I didn't really, like I could notice it a little bit. But for me, I was just so surprised and like caught off guard with like what was going on, that it didn't really bother me that much, to be honest. And I've watched it again a second time, like already, and again, you can tell, it's a little weird, but it didn't really bother me, and it doesn't take me out of the moment by any means. I just think it's so cool that they did bring Luke Skywalker back for this episode. I don't know, how much more we're going to see him. I feel like it's not going to be something where he's going to be back like a lot. I was actually kind of wondering when I realized, I was like, oh, this is going to be Luke Skywalker before he pulled off the hood, that I was thinking, I was like, oh, is Sebastian Stan on the show? Because I know a lot of people were like, yeah, they wanted him to play like a young like Luke Skywalker, and it wasn't. So I don't know, if he does come back maybe every now and then, like if they'll maybe cast him as like a young Luke Skywalker, or if they're just going to do like the CGI face. I don't really know, but my thoughts, I really just don't see him coming back a lot. It might be like very sparingly, like once a season, maybe, if that. At least that's kind of like what I want. I don't want him to be in it a lot, but it would be cool if he kind of showed up, again, like, I don't know, end of next season or even like 2 seasons from now and something like that, just to kind of keep it so you don't get used to it, I guess. We also, ended up getting the heartbreaking moment where, Luke is like, hey, I'm gonna take the child and I'm gonna, teach him. And then we end up getting that moment between Grogu and Mando, and he takes off his helmet and basically tells Grogu that it's okay, that he can go with him. And I was just like, man, got me in the feels. Like, definitely was like almost like on the verge of tears right there. So that was a really nice moment between those two. I was kind of wondering, if they were going to do that, like if he was going to get to actually see his face, because I had seen all kind of like weird theories, like, like online. I mean, they make sense, but like Grogu being evil and him not wrecking because he's never seen Mando without his helmet on and like all that stuff. So that was actually something I wondered if they were going to do, and I think they pulled it off really nicely. And that's the episode, right? At least the main part of it. So when I was first watching it, I'm glad that my brother actually ended up texting me and was like, hey, make sure to watch the full thing, like after the credits. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. But so, there is a scene after the credits, and sure enough, we get to see Boba Fett. He ends up showing up at Jabba the Hutt's palace, and he basically ends up taking over the throne, and then that set up the announcement for the Book of Boba Fett, which a lot of people there's a lot of like mixed things going on around that, if that's going to be The Mandalorian Season 3 and it's going to focus on Boba Fett, sorry, or if there's going to be like an actual like Season 3 of The Mandalorian. And these past few days, there really hasn't been like a lot of clarification, although I did see a story, and if I find it when I'm editing this video, I'll try and post it down in the links. I saw something today that it was someone who was like an artist, I think, on The Mandalorian, and they basically said it sounded like it is going to be 2 separate things. Like there's going to be Boba Fett, like his show, and then there's going to be Mandalorian Season 3, which is what I was hoping for, because I gotta admit to you guys, I would be kind of disappointed, which I guess like me being kind of greedy, but whatever, if it was only Boba Fett, like if we only got that as basically The Mandalorian Season 3. So again, nothing's like, I guess, like really confirmed, because like, Disney or whatever, they haven't come out and said anything for sure, which still makes me nervous. But this makes me feel a little bit better, because it seems like it's going to be 2 separate things, and they might just be released kind of sort of close to each other, which I think that'll be awesome. That'll make the next holiday season fantastic. So fingers crossed, but I'm definitely curious, what you guys think. Do you think that we're going to get 2 separate shows, or is the Book of Boba Fett, why I can't talk today, if you think that's going to be The Mandalorian Season 3. And yeah, I mean, I just want to hear all your guys' thoughts on the episode as well, too. Was it something, did you love it? Did you hate seeing, or not care for Luke coming back, you know, definitely let me know down below in the comments. I want to hear all your guys' thoughts and comments. And if you guys are new to the channel, please, again, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it, just so that way you get notifications for all my new videos. Make sure to hit the thumbs up on that video as well, as it always helps, especially with that YouTube algorithm. I honestly think, and I wish I would have done it, almost looking back on it now, I wish I would have maybe done like an episode by episode review for The Mandalorian. So I think I might do something like that for, you know, the upcoming season, or like the Book of Boba Fett. So keep an eye out for that, and maybe some more like TV shows like down the line. Like maybe I'll try and do episode reviews for each one of those as well. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that, and as well in the comments below. But again, thank you guys for, you know, for checking this out and letting me rant to you guys about Star Wars. You know, it's a lot of fun. I haven't been this excited about Star Wars in quite some time, and I feel like a lot of you guys are the same way. So again, make sure to subscribe, like that video, and as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.